Some political parties in the city of Johannesburg have congratulated the African Independent Congress Joburg caucus leader, Councillor Margaret Arnold, on her appointment as the Speaker of Council. But Action SA's Gauteng chairperson lambasted the Democratic Alliance in the city for snubbing the extraordinary council meeting. Arnold was elected unopposed after COPE's then sole member of council and Speaker, Colleen Makubele, was axed by her party. Arnold will now have to vacate her position as the chairperson of the council's Section 77 committee. For more on this, we're now joined by political analyst Dr. Levy Ndou, and he joins us via our video link. Mr. Ndou, thank you so much for joining us this evening here on the late edition. Once again, musical chairs are being played in the city of Johannesburg, and through the ANC and EFF coalition, we find ourselves with yet another new speaker, and this is because of the shenanigans within the COPE party. What is your thoughts on the new appointment of Margaret Arnold as the speaker in the Johannesburg Council?
Good evening, Mbali. Good evening to the viewers at home. Thank you for having me. There has been a lot of governance issues in the city of Johannesburg, and the departure of the previous speaker, Colleen Makubele, has actually created more of such. But I think one must commend the members of the City of Johannesburg Council for ensuring that they actually do not delay the election of the speaker, because the City of Johannesburg for some time has been characterized by disruptions and issues of governance, which has a negative impact on service delivery. And I think the members of council has decided to prioritize the work of council by ensuring that in the shortest space of time available, they have to ensure that they have a speaker, so that the activities of the council has to go back to normality. One would not have expected that some members would not attend this important meeting of council, because in my view, it is time for all politicians to put their differences aside and focus on the important issues, which is service delivery to their own constituencies.
And Dr. Ndou, we continue to see this trend when it comes to the EFF and ANC coalition, where we have, those from the minority parties selected to very key and crucial positions within council. What do you make that we see another minority party member who only has one seat in council being given that position of speaker?
I think it is part of the agreement between the ANC and the EFF to say, let us bring the smaller parties onto our shores. And what we do is that we don't occupy strategic positions, and we give these positions to the smaller parties. Whether that is in the best interest of these parties or is in the best interest of the voter is something that we still have to sit down, look at and assess. But the point of the matter is that as long as there is an arrangement between the ANC and the EFF, you are not likely to see any of those occupying strategic positions, because they remain in huge competition and they wouldn't love to give each other strategic positions in any way where they are working together.
And from your observations, and now that we see Councillor Margaret Arnold being elected as the Speaker of the Johannesburg Council, do you think that this time around the Speaker would be able to conclude her term of office? And I ask this because of this shaky relationship, this coalition in the city of Johannesburg has, and that is in reference to the ANC and the EFF. And not so long ago, we heard from the mother body body, the ANC, during its own meeting, saying that it wants to do away, with this coalition, and keeps on saying that, the party with the most amount of numbers in a council should occupy the key positions. Do you think that because of the shaky ground between the ANC and the EFF, Margaret Arnold can indeed conclude her term of office?
One would expect that our politicians have learned about the disadvantages of not working together, which has to compromise issues of service delivery. Our political parties have taught us that when they are in a coalition government, they find it difficult, especially in the metros, to work together, and those that are in office would hardly finish their term because of the background tussling for positions. And at this stage, what we need to do is to wait and see as to whether indeed we are going to have stability and have political parties working together in the city of Johannesburg. But it's also important to note that there are proposals already from other council members in the city of Johannesburg that are talking about the dissolution of council. So issues that relates to stability there is something that we cannot be very sure of, because anything can still happen.
And I'm coming to that exactly. We know that the DA has filed that motion, and indeed it will be heard next week, where they want a dissolution of council. Where does this place, the Speaker's future? But one would say that if the EFF-ANC coalition were able to elect a Speaker unopposed, the DA clearly needs a two-thirds majority to dissolve council. How possible will that be for the party, and also considering their no-show today at the council meeting?
All these matters would dependent on the numbers. And if the Democratic Alliance does not have the numbers in council, whatever proposals they can make might not be able to succeed, unless they then decide to use other means outside the processes of council to make proposals for the dissolution of council. But if it's within the processes of council, unfortunately, they cannot be able to make it. My sense again is that when you have got an interest of the citizens at heart, whether there are people who are leading council are not your preferred individuals, the best thing is to make a contribution to council, make a difference in council, wait for the next elections where you are able to make a contribution. Because whether the DA is there or not, the activities of council are running, and instead of them joining the wagon, I think they'll actually be seen as a party that appears not to be prepared to cooperate or not to work with other political parties.
Dr. Ndou, always a pleasure talking to you here on the show. Thank you so much for your contribution. That is Dr. Levy Ndou, a political analyst there from the Tshwane University of Technology.